Hello everyone. So this video is actually being made for a co-worker at the DHHS office I work at whose name is Kevin. He has some questions and concerns about e-readers. While I will address him specifically, it should be noted that I have heard many complaints about e-readers, or not so much complaints, but questions about e-readers from other people that I'm also going to tackle in this video. Let me make a blanket statement right now that some books are becoming very hard to find unless you have an e-reader, and popular authors are not actually immune to this, as even popular authors have obscure works. Nevertheless, let's get right into it. So, some people have said, well, I've tried to read something on a computer and it just did not go well for me. It's not the same thing, and in fact, here's a demonstration. So, when many of us think of e-readers, especially those who have never had an e-reader, they think of that time that they had to read a PDF for whatever reason, sometimes training, sometimes to read a book that they actually liked but couldn't find. They think of that time they read the PDF on a computer, and this can be daunting. It's very boring, it's very dry, and it's a fact that you just read and take this information in much slower than you would if you were just reading a book. But this is not the experience you have with an e-reader. Let's compare. A lot of engineering has gone into these devices to make it as much like reading an actual book as possible. You can see you can flip through pages, obviously. You can even just honestly just touch the screen and it'll go here. For stuff like note-taking, really ebooks are going to be superior. You can just actually click on a word here and you could make a note of it. I'm not actually going to do that, so I'm just going to hit cancel. I'm doing a demonstration here. What if I want to bookmark a page? We're just going to put your finger up here on like the bezel in the screen, and that's how you're going to do that. I apologize if I look a bit clumsy doing this. I am actually right-handed, and you can just remove the bookmark the same way. Also, too, down here, let's say you want to know where you're at in a book. You can just click down here, and it'll give you pages. Sometimes it gives you locations and percentages. Sometimes you can actually click on it to make it know how much you have left in a certain chapter. And then, of course, you just change it by going like that. 4 minutes left in chapter, 22 minutes left in book. Or you can just clear it and just read away. Sometimes I like to do that, not know where I am in a book. Just read it to read it. The second problem people talk about is price. Now, I'm going to tackle the issue here of price, and when I tackle the issue of price, I don't mean the price of the e-reading devices themselves. They are, after all, small computers, so it shouldn't be surprising you have to bust out anywhere from $100 for the lower-end models to, say, about $150, maybe $200 for the high-end e-readers. But when ebooks started coming out, or rather I should say the e-reader started coming out, it was talked about how you were going to save money on books because they didn't have to be shipped to a bookstore and the bookstore didn't have to make money on them and all this other nonsense. And while ebooks tend to be less expensive than regular books, not by much. I mean, just check this out. So, as you can see, the actual book itself is $18.49 and the Kindle is $16.99. Wow, a just over 8% discount. Thank you, Bezos, you jackass. But just to actually compare, though, you're not paying any shipping and handling on the ebook. Now, one thing that does offset this problem is the fact that there's a bunch of books in public domain that are offered on your e-reader, and some are free and some are just as cheap as 99 cents. So it can save money that way, but still. Now, an issue that some people have mentioned is power. Yes, you do need electricity to run these, and so you got to charge them. But once they are fully charged, I have an e-reader that's not really good with power retention and battery life. But even then, you can read for well over 6 hours on it. And how many people read for that long of a period of time? And the two models I'm going to show you, with their battery charged on full, can read all day on them. I mean, I know a lot of people who will go to a library at 10 and come out at like 4 p.m. and say, oh, I read for 6 hours. Like, no, you didn't. You went in there, you checked your emails and stuff and visited Facebook. Then you read for like 2 hours, grabbed some lunch, came back, you messed around on the internet, then read for maybe another hour or two. Say, well, I read for 6 or 7 hours. No, most people aren't going to be able to read a book, through like 8 hours. The fourth is display, and again, I got another demonstration for you. Display is a common issue with a lot of this. Some people ask, how is the display and lighting and whatnot. So I have here a book called Autumn Crow by Cameron Chaney and Technopoly by Neil Postman. Now let's see how easy they are to read in low light situations. Yes, I've obviously made everything pitch black here just to do a demonstration. Now some people will say, well, won't the e-reader hurt my eyes if I'm reading it in bed or whatnot? And actually not necessarily, because there's, a lot of the modern e-readers, especially the two I'm going to recommend at the end, have built-in technologies to go easy on your eyes at various times in the day. But even if you don't know how to use those settings, here's something you can do. This is on a Kindle, so, okay, I'm just going to go change my settings a bit here. I'm going to click on that icon that looks like an A. And what am I going to do with my background? I'm going to make my background black, and of course the lettering then is going to be white. And even if that disturbs your eyes, okay, I can just go up here, scroll down. I can adjust the brightness. See? The fifth issue that people talk about when they do discuss e-readers is distraction. I've heard people say things like, well, I tried to read an ebook on my iPad, or I tried to read one on my smartphone, but I got distracted by something. That is a very real concern, but you need not worry, because I'm going to show you two models of e-readers that are set up just to function to read ebooks and pretty much nothing else. So that's going to way help you. The first model I'm going to talk about is going to be the Nook, and the Nook is available. It's a Barnes & Noble product. Barnes & Noble, started out as just physical bookstores. There's still many of them around. I certainly like them. And you can pick up a Nook Glow Light there. There's two models of Nook Glow Light, Nook Glow Light 4 and Nook Glow Light 4E. I know that the E stands for economic, and it's just designed to be an e-reader. You can see the display right there. You can't play music on it or anything like that. You can't surf the web. You can just read. It says here it's $120 about. And yeah, it's a piece of plastic. Some people said it looks like a kid's toy, but it gets the job done, and it's on that cheaper end of the e-reader scale we were talking about. Another product that's comparable is the Kindle Paperwhite. Kindle Paperwhite is more expensive. However, you do get a bigger display, and you're in the Amazon ecosystem as well. So, as you can see, between these two models, you have a lot of answers to the traditional problems people expect with e-readers. I say get a lower-end model. You can pick up a Kindle. You can pick up the Kindle Paperwhites at any electronics store. Here, I live in Washtenaw County, where we got a big, beautiful Barnes & Nobles that's always selling the Nook. Pick one up, read some books on it. Hey, if you decide you don't like it, it's not like you're out a super huge amount of money. And sometimes you can even pop into a used electronics store and see if they got a Kindle or a Nook.